through the looking-glass, removing the veil. The Bridegroom. Written by Mila Blumar Dunn III. This is a piece of fiction I wrote, but what if it wasn't entirely fiction? What if, just like grabbing a lottery ticket on a whim, we stumbled onto something extraordinary, something hidden from plain sight, yet with the potential to change everything? Hiroon crackled with a tension thicker than the ancient parchments strewn across the polished mahogany table. Light, filtered through stained glass, danced in arcane patterns upon the somber faces of the assembled elite. These were no ordinary politicians or corporate magnates. They were the inheritors of a lineage far older than their boardrooms and campaign offices. They were the keepers of the esoteric order.
The Order,
intoned a voice raspy with age, his finger tracing the lines, understood.
has safeguarded knowledge since the first stones of Babylon were laid. Power, true power, lies not in currency or armed might, but in the currents coursing beneath the surface of this world.
A map unfurled, not of continents or trade routes, but of lines, ley lines. Invisible to the uninitiated, these were believed to be channels of an intangible energy grid, Earth's own subtle lifeblood. Ancient temples and megaliths marked their intersections like acupuncture needles upon a sleeping giant.
Our ancestors
The elder continued.
understood the placement of a cathedral, the coronation of a king. They were not mere acts of faith or politics, but a careful manipulation of this hidden power.
Murmurs arose, a mix of excitement and unease. The order had, in less grandiose ways, maintained this tradition. A favorable zoning law steered clear of an unremarkable hill. A certain museum acquisition ensured a rare artifact was placed upon a forgotten lay point. Yet something had shifted in recent years. A younger member, groomed in Ivy League halls, yet steeped in ancestral lore, spoke up.
The veil is thinning.
She declared.
Technology, the very means by which the masses are lulled, it inadvertently exposes them to the resonance. They sense something is amiss, but lack the language to decipher it.
Hence the rise of populist movements, the hunger for the authentic.
Mused a grizzled industrialist with surprising insight.
But also,
Added another, younger still and steeped in Silicon Valley innovation.
the explosion of fringe research, quantum anomalies, the rediscovery of ancient healing. They're fumbling towards the very energy we've commanded. It's like ants suddenly sensing the scent trail of a feast.
If the feast remains unclaimed, chaos will ensue. Millennia of careful cultivation threatened by those who would wield this power without wisdom.
The group sat in stunned silence. These were individuals accustomed to shaping economies and narratives. This new challenge was different. It was a challenge at the bedrock of their identity, their carefully constructed reality. One by one, they looked out the window of the world below, bustling and oblivious. It was like children reaching for a forgotten toy, finally sensing the hum of power within. The order had always thrived in the space between the known and the unknown. Now that space was shrinking. The elder slammed a fist, echoing against the chamber walls.
Adaption.
The young woman said, the word a seed of rebellion in this hallowed hall.
We cannot dam a river, but perhaps we can redirect it.
The tale of the esoteric order does not end here. It continues. The path is obscured, the veil wavering. Whether they become the gatekeepers of a grand awakening or the last sentinels of a dying paradigm depends on their ability to see themselves not as the wielders of a secret, but as humans thrust into an extraordinary moment in time. It hangs, as do all great stories, on the precipice of choice, to cling to the known log or to imagine, for the very first time, a way around it. The bold declaration hung in the air, a challenge to centuries of tradition. Around the room, eyes flickered, some ignited with a dangerous ambition, others veiled in a shrewd calculation.
Redirect it.
A voice laced with aristocratic disdain echoed.
And how, pray tell, do you propose to guide the primal forces of this world like cattle in a pen? The masses are not ready.
The room erupted in a cacophony of debate unseen since the last great schisms within the order. The elder watched, his face carved from weathered stone, his silence a thundercloud in its own right. The order, so meticulous in controlling the tides of the world, now faced the chaotic churn of its own metamorphosis. Days bleed into weeks, and from the chaos a plan emerged, as audacious as it was unorthodox. They would not suppress the growing awareness of the unseen forces. They would guide the narrative. Trusted researchers would subtly leak findings, curated experiences designed to awaken a sense of the extraordinary, would permeate the realms of art and entertainment. Even the megacorporations under their sway would shift their focus from mere profit to technology with a subtle slant towards human potential. It was a high-stakes gamble, akin to setting a controlled forest fire to prevent future infernos. The old guard grumbled, clinging to the comforting illusion of control. The younger generation, however, hummed with a fervor that could not be denied, for they had tasted the intoxicating possibility of a world where the extraordinary was not confined to the elite, but woven into the very fabric of the human experience. The esoteric order stepped into the shadows, becoming less a puppeteer and more a choreographer, if you will. Their touch became lighter, suggesting rather than dictating, guiding the awakening with a whisper instead of a shout. For they realized that the true power lay not in holding the secret, but in sharing the wonder. The results were unpredictable. Conspiracies abounded, fueled by the very seeds of truth they had sown. Yet, alongside the fear-mongering, genuine communities formed, exploring forgotten practices, reinterpreting ancient myths through the lens of modern science. A new language of the unseen began to emerge, clumsy but sincere. The world would never be the same. The ley lines, once channels of power solely for the initiated, now shimmered beneath a collective consciousness. Sites of ancient significance became pilgrimage spots not for worship of a bygone era, but for connection with something vast and alive in the present. The esoteric order dissolved, its members fading into the history they had woven. Some mourned a loss of control, others found a strange liberation in the chaos. For in the end, wasn't this the grand finale they had sought? A world where the veil was not so much removed as rendered gloriously transparent.